what the president did is atrocious and totally wrong. From the standpoint, we're 12 days away. I mean, the one point I'd make with Biden, if you have an impeachment and you're stuck sitting in the Senate and he needs cabinet members, you've got Secretary of Defense, you've got a lot of things that you've got to have moving. And if you think from a perspective, you put everything else away, this country is very, very divided. Impeachment divides the nation further and continues to divide even greater. That's why I want to reach out to Biden. I wanted the president to meet with Biden, but that's not going to happen.
Oh man, this is not over. It's not over at all. Even though Kevin McCarthy did say that he and Donald Trump have made up, I still never fully believe that. And as these tapes continue to come out of this one now, him talking about Trump's actions as atrocious, and even bringing up the more possibilities of how he may be removed from office or resign, it was a constant over and over conversation is what we're discovering. I wonder how Donald Trump feels about that. He did continue on though, because he wasn't big on how a potential impeachment would work, but not because he didn't think Donald Trump didn't deserve it, but because he didn't want to divide the country further, which was gonna hurt, of course, political chances. Listen to more, let's go to the second side here.
I didn't get any feedback yet.
Yeah, just that they're discussing it. It seems like there's definitely, obviously, anger on their side, but also division strategically on what to do. You know, I think the options that have been cited by the Democrats so far are the 25th Amendment, which is not exactly an elegant solution here.
That takes too long too. You could go back to the House, right?
Yeah, and
even talking to his Republican floor director, John Lugansky there on this call, Liz Cheney, Lugansky, McCarthy, and probably some other folks were also on this call. It was discussed by multiple people. This isn't a one-on-one call that we have to now be exposed to. They all knew this was the process. So think about that as we see all the back and forth that McCarthy does. Let's go to graphic number 3, you guys, to talk about that one part, because they were floating the impeachment talk. They were wondering what Democrats were gonna do, and this is part of that. So the audio from that private January 8th call is the latest in this series of recorded tapes that was obtained by the authors of This Will Not Pass. Trump, Biden, and the Battle for America's Future is the name of that book. And they shared it with CNN to shed light on what McCarthy really felt about this whole thing. And after that aftermath of the Capitol riot, again, Kevin McCarthy was on the right side of this, yes. He was actually the one who was saying correct things from the Republican side. Of course, he wanted to protect himself and the party. So part of that was talking about how atrocious in this tapes this thing was because of how bad it made them all look. But instead, they have to reel it back in and go kneel in front of the same guy that they dislike.
You know what this reminds me of, and this is a really random reference, but you know that movie She's All That, and Freddie Prinze Jr. has to go to like this art thing, and he does that performance with the hacky sack, and he's like, "Don't let it drop. You can't let it drop. Like you have to maintain control of all these moving pieces that you're juggling, and you can't let it drop because once it drops, then everything falls apart." And this is what it reminds me of. It's like, you know how if you start lying, you have to keep lying to maintain that. If you start manipulating people, you have to kind of keep that going because you created this problem. You made all these people believe all these things to where you now have an actual problem. You have, this guy who's president and you can't get rid of him, and he's trying to do all these things to basically break the country and break democracy. You can't do anything because now politically it's a bad idea. You're gonna lose support because you've already made all these people support this crazy person.
Yep.
So it reminds me of Freddie Prinze Jr.
First of all, you cannot come on the watch list, Yasmin, and call me an old man and then hit me with a Freddie Prinze, She's All That reference from 1997 sometime and call me old.
1997.
It probably was.
I just watched that movie the other day.
You know what? And you still, I'm gonna look it up. Pause, you guys. Yeah, I get to do that. I get to do this on this show. She's All That. What year was this from? She's All That was made in, doesn't even tell me right here.
I was gonna say early 2000s.
1999, bro. Okay, I was close. 2 years off. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Paul Walker was in it.
Come on.
Gus from Psych, that show. I don't know if anybody else watches Psych. I watch Psych, but Gus is in it. And he's cool. Lil Kim, Gabrielle Union, who I'm obsessed with. What?
Is this show Psych from 1994 as well?
No, it's not from 1994. It's from after 1994. I don't know.
95. Sorry.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I had to shoot off on that because you were worried about how old I was. I just want to point out.
I was trying to be respectful of how old you are,
I'm
of your wisdom.
Maybe I'm in a similar company. I'm just curious.